After the Jets fired Robert Saleh, there's been a lot of speculation about who the next fired NFL coach is going to be. Personally, I think it's Brian Daboll. I'm not calling for the guy's job. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm merely offering a prediction based off of some evidence that I've got here. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. Now, Daboll's first season was a massive success. The Giants went 9-7-1, and they won a playoff game. It was their first winning season in 6 years and their first playoff win in 11 years since they won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. So it has been a long time in New York since they've seen a playoff victory. However, they did get absolutely mollywopped in the divisional round versus the Eagles in that season. That was 2022. Fast forward to 2023. Daniel Jones kind of showed some flashes the year prior to being a good starting quarterback. And so the Giants approached this season like they could potentially win the NFC East. But pump the brakes. Obviously, they did not. The season did not go as planned. Daniel Jones suffered a season-ending neck injury in the 5th game of the season. However, the Giants, before that point, before he suffered his season-ending injury, were going to lose to the Dolphins that game, and the Giants were going to fall to 1-4. Daniel Jones hurts his neck. The Giants lose anyways. They fall to 1-4. The season is basically a wash. Obviously, there was no answer to the quarterback problem there, but the thing I want to talk about prior to this moment was the offseason battle 2 off seasons ago between Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley for a contract extension. Now, for some reason, Joe Schoen, the GM for the Giants, thought that Daniel Jones maybe was more deserving of a contract. That's speculation, not fact, but he did factually sign Daniel Jones to a 4-year, $160 million deal that pays him around $40 million per. There's a couple of cash bonuses here and there, but the average is $40 million a year. Saquon Barkley did not get an extension. He played out a 1-year contract, and this past offseason, after the Giants went, I believe, 6-11, it was time to meet the contract the contract extension, and the Giants did not. Saquon leaves. He goes to Philadelphia. The 6-11 Giants offense looks even worse than it did the year prior. They did draft Malik Neighbors, a phenomenal rookie wide receiver, but he can't be the answer to the Giants' issues. So now, moving on to this season, the Giants lose to Pittsburgh on Monday night. They're in a horrendous place. It seems like they're out of the division, and Daniel Jones is still owed at least $70 million, if not more, over the next 2 years. I'm not really sure where they go from here, but let's talk about Brian Daboll's resume. Let's say that Daboll goes 5-12 or 6-11 this season, which is not out of the realm, let's be honest. He's going to finish this season with, I believe, a 20-30-1 record, or somewhere around there. I don't know how the ownership / front office of the Giants can keep him around much longer than this season. And that's not to say he's a bad coach. Once again, not going to get into whether or not I think he's good or bad. I just think resume-wise, it's awful. And then let's go back and look at the 9-7-1 season. The Giants' 9 wins came from beating teams with a combined winning percentage of 38%. It's not like they were beating world beaters. I think they beat 2 winning teams that season, a 10-7 Baltimore Ravens team, and I believe a 9-8 Green Bay Packers. I'm sorry, I think the Packers went 8-9. I think it was a 9-8 Jacksonville Jaguars team. Either way, even if the Packers were 9-8, these are not championship contending teams. As a matter of fact, Brian Daboll, throughout his coaching career with the Giants, is 4-13 against winning teams. All that being said, there are plenty of excuses that we can offer here for Daboll. Obviously, Daniel Jones hurts himself last year, or not hurts himself, but gets hurt last year. And this season, the offense has completely fallen apart. Daniel Jones is a shell of himself, and it's not like they have another option, even though they benched Jones in the Seattle Seahawks game, I believe, or maybe the week after for their backup, Drew Lock. Either option is not great. But again, let's go back to the facts. The Giants in their 9-7-1 season were 16th in the NFL in scoring, but in the past 2 years, they are 30th and 31st in scoring in the NFL. As an NFL franchise that has a massive quarterback contract on the books, a front office that is paired with the coach, I'm not sure there's much else left to be said other than the fact that if Daboll finishes this year how I'm predicting, he has a 20-30-1 record. Can you really argue that he goes into next season potentially with Daniel Jones again or a rookie starting quarterback and expects him to do better? It's a great question. So if he doesn't do better, I mean, at best, he's looking at like a 25, 26, and 41, 42 record. That is not going to cut it in New York. We saw the exact same thing pan out with Robert Saleh. Fan pressure and egos and ownership come into factor a lot more than people think, and that's why Woody Johnson fired him. I think the same thing is going to happen here. If this was, I don't know, Kansas City or a small market team per se, like a Minnesota Vikings, well, they're not really small, but a Detroit Lions where you have your fan bases in the state and there's not really a national brand. The Giants are a national brand. They are one of the most followed fan bases in all of football. I think there's more pressure there than ever before to actually become a playoff contending team year in and year out. And I just don't think the Giants can do it anytime soon. The longer you keep this coach around, the more questions that you're going to have to answer every single week about why does he keep his job. But let me frame it back to facts. The facts are most coaches, and when I say most coaches, I'm talking 70% plus, get 50 games. 50 games is the max for coaches in the first 3 years to decide whether or not they get extended. I think the turnover for NFL head coaches is pretty damn high within the first 3 years. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 coaches in the NFL with a 10-plus year tenure at the team that they're currently at. Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh being 2 of them. Brian Daboll, I'm not sure that he's going to be that. The Giants are really going to have to turn around this season if he wants to do that. I think they're going to go in a completely new direction, especially if they're drafting a quarterback in the offseason. You don't want a coach with a bad record starting with a rookie quarterback, because you don't want to have to fire that coach in year 1 with your rookie quarterback. That creates instability and it doesn't bode well for development. That's why I think Daboll is going to get fired either now or in the offseason. That's just what I think about it. It's a prediction based off of some information. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.